American soccer has exploded over the last few years, or has it? Today we're gonna find out to see if soccer is gonna be one of the major sports in America or if it has a lot of work to do. Man, we've been seeing a lot in the news lately, specifically about the LA councilwoman, man. She thought Heung-min's son, a South Korean international, was supposed to guide the USMNT to a World Cup. And I think this says a lot about what the average person in America really thinks about soccer, man. It's a very difficult sport for people to just kind of understand what's going on in the culture. What do you guys think as soccer fans?
I think that is the greatest example of goalpost shifting about what success means that you can think of, especially for soccer. All right, so think about it right now. Yeah, everyone's like, oh man, the council person didn't know anything about soccer and they were at this event, whatever, like soccer in America's cooked, no one knows anything. Think about, just like step back for a second and think about what the event was. One of the best players of this past generation, who's not that old yet, moved in the record transfer fee for the league to one of the league's biggest clubs, and they had the entire apparatus of the city government there to be happy about it. That alone is a huge sign of progress for soccer in the US, not just for MLS. And it's funny to me that people are completely ignoring that happened just to be like, oh man, this person doesn't know how the World Cup works. Like, look a little bit outside of the funny comment and you'll see like, holy shit, that's crazy. Because if you told someone in LA, even like 15 years ago, one of the best players of this generation will be signing for LAFC in a huge, well, the fact that LAFC exists, because it didn't matter. There's going to be 2 clubs in LA. They're going to sign one of the best players of the generation for a league record fee. There's going to be all this like hoopla about it, a huge unveiling ceremony with all the big wigs from the city. There's going to be billboards. Everybody's going to know about it. They'd be like, what are you talking about?
Of course, I understand where you're coming from that. At the end of the day, like, you know what I'm saying? Major people were involved in that building and understood that. I think that's because, obviously, it is LAFC at the end of the day. MLS is going to make noise. But if you don't really know why you're there or what the purpose is of it, what's the point of even being there? Because the way I feel is, like, a lot of those council people probably didn't even know who Heung-min's son is, regardless. And even going beyond that, I feel like there's been a consistent theme in the soccer space where it's like, it's really, really hard to get like the average NBA fan or the average NFL fan to understand what's going on in this sport. And I bet you a lot of the people on that committee do support those sports. And if it was, for example, Shohei Ohtani first coming from Japan, coming to a team like the LA Dodgers, I bet you she would know all the facts about him right away. It doesn't take that much to do a Wikipedia search to understand who Heung-min's son is. I think that's what my point is that I understand the sport is going, but it's the sport is growing in America, but the little details about just what the sport is and what's going on, people just don't even research that.
I feel like for me, like especially like soccer in America is growing on a crazy rate. Like people that are watching the NBA, first of all, the NBA is declining right now because there's no more LeBron James.
I mean, LeBron's still in the league,
but you get what I'm trying to say. Like
he's getting older.
Yeah,
correct.
like it's GG's. So and plus the World Cup is coming, and people haven't really felt that World Cup or.
So when do you think people will start to feel that? Because I feel like
the
at
next
this
World
point,
Cup, especially in America, like if 2026, like next World Cup, everybody gonna be like, yo, we're gonna shake, bro. It's gonna be crazy because obviously, like World Cup is a different.
It's
tournament.
different. Yeah, it's a different level.
Everybody's here.
Of
They're
course.
here.
That's going to shock a lot of people, I think, how big of a deal it's going to be.
So, I think, yeah, of course, having the World Cup is here. But another issue that we have as well is that how many people or how many of your friends are talking about the World Cup that aren't soccer fans?
A lot, actually.
You think so?
I'd say a lot. Yeah.
I don't get it as often, in my opinion. I don't have my main friends who aren't soccer fans. They don't ask me about the World Cup as much. It's more about what's going on in the soccer space more than the World Cup next year.
Trust me, I have some friends there. They was thinking, I was like, yo, could we gotta put 20 grand? Let's go buy some tickets. I swear, like they just like that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be inescapable once we get to like May of next year.
Where do you guys see the USMNT in this picture? Because another big question that we have is like, we see the sport growing. You guys say that everybody's going to the World Cup next year. People are watching, the biggest games in the world. They're watching the Premier League. They're watching La Liga. There is no buzz for the USMNT right now. Before the World Cup going into it, I don't see many ads with any of the players. At most, I saw Chris Richards on DAZN, but I haven't seen any media, any press, any marketing around the team or any of the main players before the World Cup. The World Cup is coming here. You'd want the players from your nation to be the face of that, and I just haven't seen that.
We're still So I hear you. We're still, what, 8 or 9 months out now?
Of course.
Yeah, or 10, whatever it is. So we're a little less than a year out, and I think that that's going to massively change. People who are casual soccer fans in the U.S. aren't thinking about the World Cup right now because it's in 10 months. And between now and then, there's an entire college football season, entire NFL season, tail end of MLB season. A new NBA season is going to start and finish before the World Cup starts, depending on timing. You got college basketball, all this stuff. So it's not on people's minds because there is a whole season of their other favorite sports to happen until we get there. In like the spring of next year, people are going to realize like, oh, the World Cup is going to be here. I don't really know anything about soccer, but that's awesome. And obviously I'm going to be rooting for the American team, even if they don't know anything about it. So I think that right now we're still a little bit early for like the general non-soccer fan audience to really be thinking about it. Once that starts, brands and yeah, I would just say brands are going to go nuts on. You're going to see McKinney and Pulisic specifically on every billboard and beer commercial and Gatorade commercial. It's going to happen. We know that it is because it's happening a little bit right now, and we're still like over a year out, or a little under a year out.
I find it crazy that like a lot of Europeans don't understand how much competition soccer has compared to like other countries. So like when you go to England, for example, obviously soccer is the number one. Since the 1900s, people in England have been watching football, association football, have been creating it. MLS started in what, 1996,
yeah, it's like
bro?
30 years
MLS
old, man.
is 2 years older than me, bro. A lot of Europeans don't understand that in the American space, when it comes to sports culture, you're competing with college football, college basketball. Like to a European, for them to hear that you're competing with school sports, for them it's insane, bro.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you have no
like
frame of reference.
Like how is a major sport competing with college kids,
with
bro?
18-year-old kids?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for Europeans to come over to America and understand the dynamic of what goes on here, they really don't, bro. It's really hard and complex to understand the sporting business and why people like specific sports in America. It's just that, to be honest, soccer hasn't been around that long yet.
Yeah, it's really young.
Yeah, but like people know about it. A lot of people know about it. Like a lot of people watch it. Like we all watch soccer, and we live in America. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, and like look at the events now that keeps happening. Like soccer is really growing. I feel like specifically this summer, like it was everywhere.
All right, fellas, is it soccer or football?
I mean, I'm always gonna say
football.
soccer.
It's football, but you know, I think I'm following the script.
Yeah, of course. I just find it so funny, like as a content creator for yourself, Heung-min, like you're seeing a lot of growth in the sport of soccer, both on social media content and both just playing the game itself.
Yeah.
When people are in your comments talking about, oh, it's football, not soccer, or you're American, you don't understand, how do you kind of take that feedback?
Yo, to be honest, I'd be like, you know what? You got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really care. At the end of the day, if I see you on the field, I'm going to violate you. I'm going to just violate you. And I really do this. So at the end of the day, like, my game do the talking.
Oh, for sure. I think it's still a difficult concept for Europeans to understand that like Americans get soccer too. Like, we literally watch it through and through. Like, I would arguably say that we're some bigger fans than like some Europeans.
There's one thing that you're not going to find in the US, and it's spoiled fans. Because if you're a Premier League fan, you're waking up at like 7, 8 a.m. on a Saturday or Sunday to watch your team play. You're like watching Champions League games at work at like 3 p.m. or 2:30 or whatever. In Europe, it kind of falls into your lap. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, the fan sport in Europe is fantastic. But in the US, you really got to work for it. Like I remember when I was a kid, one of the happiest days of my whole childhood was when my TV provider got the Premier League rights. It was on Comcast. I don't know if anybody else had this.
I remember that. I remember
Comcast, when NBC got the Premier League rights when I was like 11 or 12, something like that, they got the rights and they broadcasted every single game live. And it was on demand, so you can go to like the on-demand menu and select which game you wanted to watch. It wasn't just limited to one on TV, which is ironic because that's a better setup than what there is now, where you have to pay extra for Peacock, but I digress. That was like the greatest day of my childhood because like, oh my God, I can watch Stoke versus Sunderland at 7:30 in the morning on a Saturday, and I was like a sicko because that's all that I cared about. You have to work for it to be a footy fan in the US, right?
Oh, for sure, bro.
Your friends aren't all talking about footy. When you turn on SportsCenter, it's not the main thing that's being discussed. When you're scrolling on Instagram and you're following whatever social media like sports accounts, that's not the main thing that's being posted. So You got to work for it, you know.
And definitely, like, as a fan in American soccer, I noticed that, like, in this culture, you really got to work 10 times as hard just to even watch a game, bro.
Yeah.
Even just to have relevance. And honestly, I find it kind of frustrating at times because it feels like, yo, a lot of, like, I think arguably this might be one of the best seasons of football that we have coming up. Think about it.
Bro,
You got
yeah.
Rashford and Lamine Yamal. You got every major Premier League team buying a big player
Made
this year
big signings.
to try to win this year, bro.
Exactly.
Everybody buying big. The World Cup's next year. Everything is going on. But to my general point is that we have the best season in world football, and there's just some Americans that don't even watch the sport, and that's pretty disappointing to me.
If the question is it on track to be one of the biggest? The answer is absolutely yes. Because the fact that we are doing this right now is a sign of progress. And 10, 15 years ago, there wouldn't be like a media company making a soccer podcast. It just wouldn't make sense. And now it does. So the fact that we're there is already an improvement.